All right, guys. So Joe Rogan responded to Don Lemon's segment with Sanjay Gupta, in which you guys remember Don Lemon tried to use a semantics game in order to try to explain away the fact that CNN was lying about the drug that Joe Rogan was taking when he got COVID, right? The drug that he was prescribed from his doctor. Now, Joe Rogan responds probably in the most hilarious way possible. But before I get into that, I got to get my disclaimer here because I got to keep the video up, guys. We got to keep this video up. And I'm not trying to get a strike, okay? The drug, ivermectin, has not been FDA approved for what Joe Rogan was using it for. It has not been proven to be safe and effective for what Joe Rogan was using it for. And also, furthermore, I'm not making any claims about the virus. I'm not making claims about the vaccine. I'm not making claims about anything whatsoever. If you have any questions about that, please consult your doctor. Please consult your medical professional. So without further ado, let's roll the clip of Joe Rogan addressing Don Lemon. Take a look.
They don't understand that when they say things that are absolutely untrue, it diminishes their authority. They're not even aware of what they're doing. Like,
but they don't have an alternative.
When Don Lemon goes on with Sanjay Gupta and says, actually, it really is a veterinary medicine. It really is deworming horses.
This was the lie. He goes, it's not a lie to say it's also used as horse medicine. He goes,
that's not what you said.
Yeah, that's not what you said. You didn't say this drug, which also is used for horses. Of what relevance is that?
It doesn't have any relevance. Exactly what you're talking about with penicillin, right. and with like a gigantic number of medicines that also have veterinary applications. But by doing that, you just prove my point. They don't even understand what they just did. You think no one's, like, it's going to end with you? See, because it used to be that way. They would say something and no one would have recourse.
Do you know what this is?
But when you're saying something and then the person you're saying it about has literally 10 times the audience you do, you dumb motherfucker. Do you know what you did? You just proved my point.
Bruh, he's so right. But, you know, before I get into this, I gotta say, you know, the drug that Joe Rogan was taking is not been proven safe nor effective for what he was using it for. It has not been FDA approved for what he was using it for. I just have to make that clear just to try to keep the video up, okay? It is very risky touching these topics. I just want you guys to understand that YouTube has strict rules around this. But he's correct about his overall point in regards to the media and how they just lie and then think that there's no recourse for them lying. We live in the digital age. We don't live back in the early 2000s where you could just lie and there's no consequences, like them lying about the Iraq war, right? You remember how the media did that? Okay, weapons of mass destruction, right? Yeah, back then you could just lie. But now, because we live in, again, the social media age, the internet age, you just can't be a mainstream media outlet and just lie and then think that you can get away with it, especially when you're lying about somebody that has a way bigger audience than you, right? Which tells you how bad CNN is doing, right? A struggling news network like CNN, they go out of their way to lie about somebody like Joe Rogan, who has a way bigger audience than they do, right, with way less marketing dollars, way less of any of that stuff. And then when actually confronted about the lie, when called out about the lie, they double down on it, right? Like Joe Rogan said, you're proving his point. You're proving his point. Because at the very least, guys, if I mess up on something, right, and if I know I messed up on it, I will come out here and issue a correction. I'll say, hey, you know what, guys, I messed up, right? I got this wrong. You know, I didn't look into this enough, you know, blah, 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 right? And because I'm willing to do that, right? I'm willing to admit to my mistakes. Don Lemon, on the other hand, he's not willing to admit to his mistakes. He wants to double and triple down on the mistake and try to play this semantics game, right? To try to justify why CNN basically lied about the drug this man was taking, implying that he was taking the animal version of this drug when he actually wasn't. Again, it was totally unnecessary, considering that the drug that he was taking is not even FDA approved for what he was taking it for. So you didn't even have to do that to make your point. You didn't have to do that. But again, instead of acknowledging the lie and the mistake and correcting it with the audience, no, they just doubled down on it, which is why nobody trusts mainstream news. right? Which is exactly why nobody trusts them, which in turn gives more authority to alternative media outlets, which is what they claim they don't want, right? They come up here and say, oh, we don't want alternative media to be legitimized. But yet, when you lie like that, you're actually legitimizing people like Joe Rogan, right? And alternative media outlets, because everybody can see, well, the mainstream media lies. So why not listen to some other person that's just going to be upfront about the fact that, hey, this is just my opinion, right? But they did it because they just hate Rogan, because Rogan is more successful than them, right? But see, what I've been telling you guys about these mainstream media so-called journalists is that they're not that different than somebody like me or even Joe Rogan. They're opinion hosts, right? The only difference is that they have a script and they have a camera crew. They don't really have to do that much work except go up there and say what they've been told to say, right? And Don Lemon actually did a segment in which he revealed himself to be what he actually really is, which is an opinion host, as he essentially comes out here and basically tells the world that he's pissed off at the Democrat Party for not doing enough, because he's low-key rooting for them to stop the evil Republicans and quote-unquote save democracy. Take a look.
At the White House, when you are the leader of the Senate, when you are the leader of the House of, you are the speaker. When you speak, we listen. When you say, I'm going to have a press conference, I'm inviting the media to do this, I'm going to actually go into the press room with Jen Psaki. I'm going to show up there sometimes and surprise people. And guess what? I'm going to pull the nation in with my narrative. I am going to get their attention. I'm going to make sure I have their attention. I'm going to tell them what is in the bill. I'm going to tell them what I'm selling. That is going to help them and everybody in red America and everybody in blue America and all Americans. I'm not just going to sit back and expect the news media to do it for me, because it's not our job to sell the narrative. It's our job to discuss what you are doing, and yes, part of what's in it, but it's not our job to sell your agenda for you. They are not selling their agenda. And the only reason that I am so enthusiastic about this is because our democracy is on the line. And I don't want America to lose its democracy. I don't want America to be a country of minority rule. And I don't want America to be a place where black and brown people like me, whose ancestors fought and died for the right to vote, are restricted from going to the voting booth. That is the most un-American thing to do. So I have this platform that I have now, and I'm speaking very passionate about it. Democrats, get your butts in gear and get passionate about saving this damn country. You're not doing it. You're weak. You are weak. You are weak. That's it. Good night. Thank you and good night.
You can take a deep breath for a second.
Look, my producer's saying he's doing a town hall tomorrow. Yeah, I get that. I know that. I had one with him. He's doing a town hall tomorrow.
Guys, what's the difference between what Don Lemon just said and something that an opinion host like Joe Rogan would say, right? I mean, Don Lemon literally just told us straight up, I'm rooting for the Democrats. I'm pissed at the Democrats because I don't feel like they're being strong enough. I feel like they're being weak. I don't feel like they're selling their agenda hard enough. I'm pissed off because I want the Democrats to quote unquote save democracy, right? Save democracy. Save America. Again, he just flat out telling you, objective journalist Don Lemon, nonpartisan, right? Non-biased Don Lemon, I'm rooting for the Democrats. That's what he's saying. Flat out. That's what he's telling you. But see, these people claim they're different from Joe Rogan. You're not. You're not. So we know where your bias lies. But what I find to be absolutely hilarious about this is that these left-wing media hosts keep pushing this idea that democracy is under attack because of GOP's election integrity laws. When, first of all, there's no evidence that voter ID laws actually keep people or so-called people of color from voting. There's actually literally no evidence. Guys, I've literally tried to look this up because one person told me in my comment section one time that, hey, I like, when you talk about race stuff, but you're so ignorant on voting rights. And I'm like, where is the evidence? Because I'm at the point now where I'm calling it a conspiracy. When you say that GOP election integrity laws are keeping minorities from voting, I think it's a conspiracy because there's literally no evidence. I've tried to look this up. I've tried to find the data. I've tried to find the numbers. It's just not there. And the data that is there, guys, suggests that there is very little impact whatsoever from this stuff. And all of the so-called evidence is nothing but theories, right? It's nothing but theories. It's that, well, you know, such and such amount of black people don't have IDs, so therefore having a law that requires you to show ID, that's going to disproportionately impact black people and keep them from voting. Okay, well, get an ID then, right? Get an ID, okay? It's very clear. If you don't want to go jump through the hoops and to find the information that you need to find in order to actually vote, then you don't want to vote, right? That, I mean, it's very clear. As a black person in a state that traditionally, at least the legislator, is red, I've never had an issue voting, ever, right? Ever. And again, what really blows my mind is that the GOP has been doing this literally for years, And then, weren't these the same people telling us how black folks saved the election last year because Biden won, right? So again, which one is it? Because if the GOP has been doing this for years, but yet black people were able to vote last year with no problems, then that means that the laws are not effective, which is what the data suggests, right? Again, there's no evidence to back up this claim. Also, what I find hilarious is how you want to talk about democracy. Why don't you talk about how undemocratic the DNC is? Right? But since Don Lemon is rooting for the Democrat Party, you're rooting for the Democrats. Why don't you talk about how in 2016, WikiLeaks, the emails, Hillary's emails suggested that the DNC was very pro-Hillary, right? They were very pro-Hillary, right? Basically stacking the chips against Bernie when it came to some things. And then that seemed to have happened again in 2020 when, before Super Tuesday, guys, you guys remember, Bernie, it looked like he was the one that was actually going to win the Democrat primary. He was going to be the nominee. But all of a sudden, that Sunday, before Super Tuesday, Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and any candidate that was taking away votes from Biden, that was splitting votes with Biden, dropped out, right? Elizabeth Warren, who had no chance of winning, but happened to be splitting votes with Bernie, stayed in, right? Which essentially led to Biden winning on Super Tuesday, that helped him go on to win the nomination, right? And you mean to tell me it's a coincidence that all these people who were competing against Biden for votes happened to drop out before Super Tuesday when it looked like Bernie was going to win? And these same people got kickbacks like Pete Buttigieg, who became the, I guess, the head of transportation with no experience from Biden after he got elected? You mean to tell me that's a coincidence? Hell no, there ain't no coincidence. So when you want to talk to me about democracy, you need to look at the DNC and tell me, is that really a democracy? Because I don't know. I don't know if that's really a democracy. Okay? All these Democrats want to save democracy. But they won't even look at their own party and ask themselves, is that a democracy? Because honestly, I got questions. Based off what we've seen in the primaries. I'm just saying, I ain't trying to be conspiratorial. I'm just saying that seems mighty coincidental. That's all I'm saying. So again, I just find Don Lemon here to be hilarious, how he's just overtly rooting for the Democrat Party, but claims to be objective and non-biased when it's like, bro, you're clearly a progressive. You clearly are on board with AOC and the squad, and you're in that camp, right? You're in that camp. Maybe Don Lemon doesn't know all this stuff because, like Joe Rogan said, he's a stupid you know what. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.